As we're talking about happiness and excitement, and the lens that we're talking about happiness and excitement through is around our nervous system and what happens in our system, in our body when we feel excited or happy, and how that can be something we put the brakes on sometimes, depending on what's happening with our nervous system. That this practice, cyclic physiological sighing, is one of the practices that is so helpful for our nervous system and for bringing ourselves back a little bit down into regulation, or if we're low, to bring us up into regulation. So there's a link here for the studies and research at Stanford Lab with some other researchers as well. So let's do this for a couple of minutes. So the research found that 5 minutes of this a day is more helpful for nervous system regulation than box breathing, meditation, and some other things that they studied it against. Double inhale, deep double inhale through the nose, and then long, slow exhale through the mouth. And if you purse your lips so you're breathing out like through a thin straw, then let your whole body soften as you breathe out. Let the exhalation go for quite a long time. So deep double inhale. And really notice as you're breathing out, you could relax your face and jaw, neck and shoulders, all the way down through to your feet. And as you're doing that, notice how you feel in your body. And in particular, notice how you feel in your stomach area. We're going to monitor the signs of happiness and excitement in our body, and it often shows up in our chest, in our stomach area. So that's one of the reasons why I thought it would be helpful to start with this tuning in. When we think about going on a ride like that, which I've been on a version of the swings at fairs many times, what does that feel like in your body when you're doing it and when you're thinking about doing it? So this is fun. It's a bit edgy. There's a bit of a danger there as well. Our bodies are being moved through space. So some people looking at that picture of that ride would be feeling excitement. Some would be feeling like, oh, no way I'd ever get onto that. So notice what your personal experience is with that. We can look at the picture, but we can also, if you've ever been on a ride like that or ever stood wondering if you were going to go on a ride like that, what does that feel like in your body? So one of the things that happens is that we have a lot of adrenaline in our body when we feel that kind of excited threat. We also might have been waiting for a while. So when I was a child, every year in the summer, there was a 3-day country fair, and they had the rides that came with that. Later on, when I was living in a bigger city, there was a park that people could go to anytime. So you didn't have to wait. But when we're waiting for something exciting, that's also something that we have an experience of that in our body. Sometimes people will get so excited that by the time whatever it is happens that we're looking forward to, we're kind of sick to our stomach, or maybe we are sick to our stomach. So there's a lot of different things that happen here. So what's your experience with that, especially when you were a child? As we get older, we tend to not get so excited about those kinds of things, perhaps. What's your experience with that? Notice in your body what you feel right now, and also notice what was your history with that. Could be for anything. The first day of school, we want to get back and hang out with our friends, but we're also scared of things. If you were taking piano lessons or dance lessons or anything like that, maybe there was a performance. What comes to mind when you think about excitement that's not just pure fun? There's some kind of a thrill of danger as well. Anticipation is something that can be very fun. And I read some research a few years ago that said that people who are planning their vacations enjoy the anticipation of the vacation more than they enjoy the vacation once they're there. And that really makes sense. I'm actually planning a vacation this summer and looking through, deciding where I was going to go, and then booking. I'm going to be going by ferry to Newfoundland, booking the ferry, booking the accommodations, deciding how long to stay, booking all of that stuff was fun. And when I get there, I know that it will be fun, but also we have to deal with travel and uncomfortable situations and all the things we have to do once we actually get there. So we don't think about the demands of travel on our nervous system when we're actually anticipating the trip. What's your experience with that? Whether it's a vacation or travel or something else that you plan ahead for. Is there an enjoyment on the way leading up to it that's different from what happens when we're actually in the situation? One of the things I think is kind of ironic is that we have this feeling of, well, I'm going to relax and I'm going to not think about work while I'm gone, and I'm not going to have to put up with that edgy neighbor and all of those things. And then when we're at the vacation, on the vacation, when we're actually there, we're often thinking about work or we're thinking about the other things. We ruminate, we bring these things forward with us. So our actual experience can be different from what we think our experience might be. Sometimes when I go for a walk on the beach, too, I notice that. Sometimes I'm really at the beach, other times I'm still thinking about something else. What's your experience and what does that feel like in your body as you think about that? Or maybe as you're looking at that picture of those people surfing, that's something that brings excitement to you and to your body. Maybe you have memories of doing that. Or maybe that's something that kind of scares you. And then we also have this experience of dread. Even when it's something that we're having fun with, we know through experience that something bad can happen. And if we have a nervous system and if we have experiences in our life that's been the situation, we're all having fun and then it gets a bit out of control and one of our parents starts yelling at us, or there's something happens that interrupts it. Or we're out on the surfboard and then we crash and we're eating sand. What's the experience that comes to mind? And let's sit with this for a little bit. When you think about your experience of having fun and then how that ended. So there's a hypervigilance here, often the situation based on our own experiences. Notice your body right now. What is that sensation in your stomach or your chest? What's happening with that? And then as we're working with this, notice if you can stay in this moment in time. So one of the ways we do that is we might do a couple of those deep in breaths, the physiological sighing. If we have images and memories, which is very common, I was riding my bike along and having a thrill of that going down the hill, and then all of a sudden a tire hit a rock and it went flying off. Whatever that memory might be for you. And then notice this is a memory. Put the images into a frame, open your eyes. When we're involved in memories, especially traumatic ones, it's always a good idea to have your eyes open so that you can regulate into the room that you're in. And then look at the image. Notice yourself in the picture as well. So when we look at something out of our own eyes, it feels more like it's happening in the moment. Put yourself in the picture, take that step back, and then let yourself kind of go into it. There's a picture, there's a frame, and we can be looking at that and just noticing what's happening in my body as I'm remembering that. If it feels like it's getting too much, you're being drawn too far into it, look at the space on the outside of the frame and take your eyes around that space a couple of times in each direction. Tune back into your feet and your seat. Hold your own hand. Take a few breaths, relax your body. What does that feel like in your body? What are the sensations? I can never fully relax when I'm having fun because what if something bad happens? I have to stay alert so that I can protect myself. And if that's your experience and that's your past, the past experience that you have is that you've had fun in your life, and sometimes that fun has ended in some kind of reprimand or danger or something's happened, then see then if you could bring yourself into some compassion for yourself. We're having fun. We finally let down our guard. We're flying along on our bike or whatever it is. We're laughing with our friends or our siblings or something. And then boom. It's very jarring when something like that happens. Comes out of the blue. So in this moment, as we're working with this, notice what's happening in your body as you're looking at it. We've gone from looking at excitement, kind of an edgy excitement with a bit of a thrill, but now we're looking at a hypervigilant nervous system that says it's not okay to relax. And then take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to go into the inquiry part now. And if you want to have your camera off, of course you can. So I can afford to feel happy. As we're going through, continue to notice what it feels like in your body. I can afford to feel happy. It could be an affirmation, but in this sense, we're using it as a reverse inquiry. Is there any argument about that? When you say that to yourself, I can afford to feel happy. What comes up in your system? Are there memories of times when you felt happy and things kind of went wrong? Is there any talk back? Let's look at that for a moment. I can afford to feel happy. And if something bad happens, I'm resilient and strong and resourced. I actually don't have to worry about it now. I'm confident. I know that I can trust myself to figure it out if something happens. And notice how true that feels. I don't have to be on guard. I could allow myself to relax and enjoy whatever it is that is here to enjoy. And I trust that I'll figure it out. I'm strong, I'm resilient, I'm resourced. I know what to do with my breath. I know how to come back in my body. I can put images into a frame, remind my brain that that's not actually happening if I'm worrying about something. Notice that. Notice your own resilience. And you might even bring up a memory of that. Sometimes we're blindsided by something. We weren't expecting what happens. And then, in fact, we went through it okay, even though that was not one of the things we were catastrophically worrying about. It happened without us really thinking it could happen. And we actually did get through it okay. It was fine. It wasn't easy. And yet we have these resources now that we didn't have as a child. A lot of our neuroception, our perception of am I going to be okay, is based on the brain development and the nervous system and the resources we had as a child. And that's something that's good to notice is different now. And like everyone, I deserve happiness and joy. This word deserve can be a bit of a catchy one for some people. You could replace it with something else. But like everyone, happiness and joy are something that I could have in my life. I don't have to actually earn them. And it might be simple pleasures like coming online with a group of people like we do in these classes. And we feel connected. It might be something that's a bit more immediate in a real spike of happiness. We see a friend unexpectedly. It's like, oh, wow, so good to see you. And next, I wanted to work a little bit with noticing how it feels in our body around excited happiness and calm happiness. So, how did these experiences land in your body, and what's the same and what's different? So, we're going to work a little bit with one and then the other. So, if you were to bring to mind people, places, experiences that generate that excited happiness, and we're going to spend a couple minutes here so you have time to bring some things to mind. You might have to go way into your history, or it might be something that is quite common. You have a habit of getting together with people that you just love being with and you feel excited about it. Or you ride your bike and you love that feeling of adrenaline and excitement, and sometimes you feel joy. Let's start with that one. There's an excitement about it. There's some adrenaline and cortisol in your body. There's something kind of thrilling. Let yourself really feel into that. See yourself in the experience. You really notice, what does that feel like in your body? Notice what happens to your breath. And if you regulate your breath and take some longer exhales, for instance, does that change the level of excitement? Does it change the energy in your body? And where and what exactly do you feel in your body? So, where is that excitement located? What are the qualities of it? Maybe you're going on vacation and you're renting a convertible and you're thinking about driving along the coastal highway or something. So there's an excitement there as well as happiness, whatever that might be for you. And the sensations in your body, are they comfortable and welcome? Is there a feeling of when I breathe, they settle or become less? And how does that affect your happiness level, your excitement? And is there anything about this feeling in your body when you think about excited happiness that feels the same as anxiety? And if so, how would you know the difference? How would you know that this is excitement or this is anxiety? Could you tell that just from the physical sensations, the butterflies in your stomach or whatever that might be? A lot of it, of course, has to do with the thoughts in our mind. We're associating this particular feeling with these thoughts. And then, if there is an anxiety component, sometimes our nervous system will bring us into, well, this experience of butterflies in my stomach feels a lot like anxiety. And then we start to worry about something. There could be that happening too. Notice what your experience is with that. And then we'll shift into calm happiness. So, this might be something like when I walk outside and I breathe in the air here and I look around, there's a calm happiness, whatever that is for you, and bring forward a few things. It could be not being in person with your friends, but just thinking about, there are these two people who I really care about and they care about me. When I think about them, I feel that calm happiness. Or when you go riding your horse or pet your dog, or what brings up that feeling of calm happiness to you? What does that feel like in your body? Stay really present. Notice your seat, your feet, and notice if there's a difference between excited happiness and calm happiness in terms of the sensations you feel in your body. And then the last one is, it is safe to feel excited and happy. Again, it's a reverse inquiry just to see, when we say that, is your nervous system fully on board or is there any kind of hesitation? It's safe for me to feel excited and happy. That's something I don't have to shut down or control. I can let myself feel excited and happy. Again, being aware of the sensations, the body experience as you're looking at that. And then let's finish by thinking about and bringing in something that you might do on a practical level, an experience, a person, an activity that you could bring in that would bring you some more of this, whether it's the calm happiness or excited happiness. We all have both. What could you do over the next few weeks or months to bring more of that into your life? And let yourself feel that. Take a few breaths, notice your body. Even if something goes wrong, I know that I'll be able to handle it. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to bring more of this in. And this is the one thing I'm going to start with. Notice how that feels in your body.